What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video where we're going to continue the CompTIA PenTest Plus learning path on TryHackMe. In today's video, we're going to cover the Nessus room, learn how to set up and use Nessus, a popular vulnerability scanner. First, before we begin, let's go ahead and go to task number 4 and start the VM. That'll be the target VM. Make sure your VPN is connected. While that spins up, let's go ahead and start on task number 1, Introduction. So Nessus vulnerability scanner. Nessus is a vulnerability scanner similar. It operates similar to Nmap, as you've seen on the terminal in the previous video. Nessus offers a free and paid version. Nessus Essentials is the free version. Nessus Professional is the paid version. And then there's enterprise levels, but we won't get into that. This is out of scope, so we don't need to check the pricing. Let's just go ahead and click complete and go to task number 2. So for task number 2, we will not be utilizing the TryHackMe attack box. We're going to go ahead and install Nessus Essentials locally onto our Kali system. So we'll go ahead and open up this link in step number 1 to grab our Nessus installation file. And on top of that, we will also have to register with an account just so we can get an activation code from Tenable. So we'll go ahead and do cyber author. Just for my example, we'll do temp email at yotmail.com. And then that'll send me an activation code to my email. And then after that, it'll prompt you with a download Nessus. We'll go ahead and download. It'll take us to the next page actually. So choose the version that we want to install. We'll choose the latest 1.10.4.1 at the time of this video. And for the platform, since I'm going to install it on my Kali Linux host, I'm going to go ahead and find the Linux-Debian-AMD64. We'll go ahead and select that and then download it. Go ahead and hit agree. That's the license agreement. There's another option. You can download it using curl or run it on a Docker or virtual machine and pull it that way. As we can see, Nessus downloaded to our file, to our downloads folder. And we don't really need to follow the rest of these steps. We'll go ahead and just open up our terminal. Go to your downloads folder. We'll go ahead and start the installation of Nessus. So we'll run dp. We'll run dpkg-i and then Nessus. That's the install file, Debian file name. Go ahead and hit enter. We may have to run with sudo. That's right. Enter your password. And then that will begin the installation. Okay, now that that's finished, you'll be prompted with you can start Nessus by typing the following command. So we'll go ahead and just copy that, paste it below, cancel that. Go ahead and run that with sudo, so that way it'll start the service. So we could just copy this link over here and then paste that into our new tab. And you'll get this warning, potential security risk ahead. We can hit advanced and then accept the risk and continue. We'll need, this is because we're using a self-signed certificate as shown here. Connection is not secure because of that. So now what we're going to want to do is select the Nessus Essentials. So this is the default Nessus welcome to Nessus page. So we're going to be installing Nessus Essentials. Go ahead and hit continue. Get an activation code. We already got our activation code, so we can go ahead and hit skip. And then you'll go ahead and enter your activation code that was sent to your email. And then once you grabbed your activation code, you'll go ahead and paste it. It'll look something like this. Hit continue. You'll create an account. You'll go ahead and create an account. For this case, for my example, I'll create cyber author and then just password. Setup is complete. Now it might take a while. This is going to download all the plugins and initialize the Nessus Essential Scanner. So while that's doing its thing, we'll go ahead and go back to our Nessus room. Hit continue or completed. We just ran that. We'll now start the Nessus service. We just did that. Opened it in the new tab. Complete. Activation code complete. Fill out username, password complete. Now it's downloading the plugins. And then once that finishes, it'll prompt us with the login page. So this is the Nessus Essentials login page. Go ahead and enter your password. So now that it's finished compiling all the plugins, we'll be prompted with a welcome to Nessus. We can just go ahead and hit close. Now we're into our dashboard. So we'll go ahead and hit complete and complete. Okay, on to task number 3. Navigation in scans. What is the name of the button which is used to launch a scan? That will be the new scan button on the top right. So we'll go ahead and just do new scan. What side menu option allows us to create custom templates? So to create custom templates, you'll go over here to the policies, and then we can create a new policy just like that. And then we have all these different policy templates. So if we go to basic network scan, we'll see this template over here. So settings, credentials, plugins. So we'll go back over here and do policies. What menu allows us to change plugin properties such as hiding them or changing their severity? That'll be over here in the plugin rules. You can go over here and create a new rule for a specific plugin ID, when it expires, and setting the severity for it as well. So go ahead and put plugin rules. In the scan template section, after clicking on new scan, what scan allows us to simply see what hosts are alive? That'll be the host discovery. One of the most useful scan types, which is considered to be suitable for any host, that'll be the basic network scan. What scan allows you to authenticate to the host and enumerate missing patches? That will be the credentialed patch audit scan. Credentialed patch audit, audit scan. What scan is specifically used for scanning web applications? That'll be the web application tests, if I can spell that right. On to task number 4. For task number 4, now we're going to actually run a network scan. So we're going to create a basic network scan, and then we're going to run a basic scan against the target machine. So back to my scans, we'll go new scan, we'll select a basic network scan. We'll just call this basic network scan, and then we'll just put TryHackMe. Go ahead and copy our target IP and slap that in the targets field. And of course, you have all these other properties like setting a scheduled scan. We can schedule this to run whenever. Now we have notifications to email recipients, discovery, what kind of port scans we want to create. We have assessments, what kind of scan type, scan for known web app vulnerabilities, all web vulnerabilities. We'll do it quick and complex or custom. The kind of reporting, what you want in the report, processing to override normal verbosity, the different outputs. Then we have advanced scans, which scan low bandwidth links, custom, etc. Then you can specify your credentials for your host, which can be pretty much anything: API gateway, database, host, miscellaneous, plain text authentication, and then of course your plugins. So the first question will be schedule. This can be very useful when congestion is an issue. So when we want to set a time for the scan to run, under discovery, set the scan type to cover ports 1 through 65535. What is this scan type? So if we go back over here, go back to settings to discovery, it's going to be port scan all ports to scan all 65,000 ports. Port scan all ports. What scan type can we change to under advanced for lower bandwidth connection? As we see, it's going to be the scan low bandwidth links. With all these options set, let's launch a scan. We're not going to go ahead and select the scan low bandwidth links. We're just going to leave everything by default for the sake of time. So save. And then we can go ahead and hit launch under my scans, or we can select this and then launch this way. There's many ways. And then once we see this green circle spinning, that says the scan is running, as we see here. And then on the dashboard, you'll of course see basic network scan, TryHackMe. So this is the network scan that we created. It'll show you the host that is scanned and then the vulnerabilities that I found. So right now there's just one informational finding. Then vulnerabilities tab will list out the vulnerabilities in more depth with the score rating, the severity, the name of the vulnerability found, the family, and then how many counts of that vulnerability that it may have found. That's usually used for when you have multiple targets that you're scanning. And then the history will just show you the history of the scan. Scan details the policy that we're using or template, which is the basic network scan, the status of the scan that's running, the severity base. So it'll use the CVSS version 3.0 severity base to score the vulnerabilities. For example, the two informational. The scanner. So this is a local scanner on our local Kali machine, and then the time that it started. And then of course you get this pie chart that shows you the vulnerabilities. After the scan completes, which vulnerability in the port scanners family can we view the details of to see the open ports on this host? So even though it's still running, we'll go over here and see Nessus SYN scanner. This is part of the port scanner family. So this will show you the ports that's found or ports that are open on the machine. As we can see, port 80 is open. It's still running, so this may find additional ports. But since we're already here on the questions, let's go ahead and just answer it. SYN, Nessus SYN scanner. What Apache HTTP server version is reported by Nessus? So in the vulnerability output, the scan is still running, but we see that there's an Apache HTTP server version. Go ahead and select that. So for Apache HTTP server version, we see that it's 2499. Go ahead and copy that. On to task number 5. Scanning a web application. So we're going to run a web application scan on the VM using the web application test template. So let's go ahead and set that up. But we no longer need the scan, so we can go ahead and stop that. Normally you wouldn't stop a scan, but for the sake of time, we're going to stop it so we can keep this video short and go on to the next scan. So new scan, web application tests. We'll just name it web app, and then THM, TryHackMe. Then we'll copy our target IP address. We'll just slap it in the targets, and we'll leave everything else default. So go ahead, hit save, and then we'll go ahead and launch that scan. Now we see that the web application has completed. So we'll go ahead and select it. Go to vulnerabilities. And then let's back to question. What is the plugin ID of the plugin that determines the HTTP server type and version? So if we hit on the HTTP multiple issues, we'll go and select HTTP server type and version. From here on the top, we'll see that the plugin ID is 10107, and on the right side, we see the plugin ID is 10107. So we'll go ahead and copy that and paste that. What authentication page is discovered by the scanner that transmits credentials in clear text? And then back on the vulnerabilities, we'll go to web server, multiple issues. And just a quick heads up, if you wanted to, if you don't want to see the vulnerabilities grouped up together, you can hit this gear icon here and then disable groups. So web server transmits clear text credentials. That's located in the login.php. Go ahead and copy that and then paste that. What is the file extension? What is the file extension of the config backup? Go back to vulnerabilities. Backup files disclosure. Looks like it's going to be a .back, B-A-K. So it's going to be a .bak. So which directory contains example documents? This will be in a PHP directory. So if we go to browsable web directories, see if anything stands out. We see docs. Let's go to docs examples. Open the link in a new tab, and then we'll go ahead and open docs in a new tab as well. So this is going to contain the example.php file. This one's just going to contain folders. So this will be the directory in question. Go ahead and paste that. What vulnerability is this application susceptible to that it is associated with X-frame options? Go back to vulnerabilities. Looks like this might be what clickjacking. So X-frame options, we can already just tell it's clickjacking. And that is the room. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.